Okay, I think now we're getting online. Hello everybody, I am Arzu. I am a founding member of Compulsive. This week I am doing the artist talk with Anne van de Staar. She presented the beautiful piece Sythetic Strings, which is around 6 minutes and 15 seconds long on our Pulse channel. And you can still watch it until this Sunday. So tomorrow, watch it and listen to it. And I will just wait for her. Hello, Nathalie, to come join us in our chat room. And we'll do a little bit of talking. There's still a few weeks of pulsing left. So check out our program. You can go to our website, compulsive.com, or on our Facebook site, or of course on our Instagram site. And you'll have still a lot of fun things to listen to and to watch, of course. So we're just waiting for a small moment for Anne to join us. Maybe I can announce for the next week it's Friffa Jenkins who is going to present her work. And she's a London-based sound artist and also sound educator. And possibly Rebecca from our founding team will be conducting the talk next Saturday, again at this hour, this time. London time 6 o'clock, Brussels time 7 o'clock, so 19. So we are still waiting, and please feel free to also ask questions towards the end of our talk, and bring in a lot of good energy. I see Anne there, and I'm just inviting her to get into the chat so we can rock and roll. Accept that. Hello, Anne.
Hello. Hi.
How are you doing, first of all?
Good.
Can you hear me well?
How are you?
Good. Yes, thank you very much. Enjoying the very wisselvallige Wetter here in Brussels. Where are you now?
Wait.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. There's a tiny little delay, I think.
Yeah.
But it should be okay. Yeah. So, I was just asking, where are you now at the moment? You're in Antwerp or in Brussels
I'm in
also?
Brussels. Yeah.
Okay. So you've also experienced the hail today. Like
yes,
10 minutes of ice hailing. Okay. So everybody, this is Anne van de Staar. And she's a Dutch artist, but she lives in Belgium for a super long time. So basically, practice very much Belgium-based. Has very variable practices, from installation to music, dance, sound performances. We'll talk about that in a bit. So we know each other from the Showcase of Emerging Sound that we were both part of last year in 2021. With the exposition or installation in Leuven at Stuk, where she presented a really beautiful sound installation, the Bling Ring, which were like two huge metal rings that were kind of occasionally bumping against each other and creating this like super nice atmosphere of like uncanny echoing inside of the space. So that was an installative practice or work, which you mentioned just before when we were checking that it's going to be shown again in Kortrijk this year. Is that correct?
Yes. In the summer. Yeah.
Right. So everybody watch out for Anne's latest news and updates to what's going to come next. So she'll be there pronouncing or announcing those events. So as I mentioned just quickly before, you have a very various practice. So you do many different kinds of things, from sound art to music performances. You have a duo band called Mono Mono, is that correct? Which also works in more electronic music, but with sonic explorations and also some visual components with projections and so on. Would you like to say a few words about that?
Yes. This is Mono Mono. It's an electroacoustic band together with the violinist Hester Bolle. We met through Facebook. I I contacted her, and after that we just started jamming, and from that on we decided on um, on working together because
Yeah.
it was such a good synergy, and
Mm-hmm.
we still do.
Mm-hmm.
So we just finished a week of working in a studio in Trix, where we are artists in residence for this year,
Nice.
and we're just collaborating
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
on new pieces.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I remember seeing some 3D models and, like visual work. So like Mono Mono also has a very strong like synergy between, audio visual practices. Would you like to say a few words about that?
yes, indeed. So we like last year, of course, everybody was COVID,
Yeah.
so we just released an album called Icon, and after that release in February, we thought how to we really wanted to do live performances and show the audience what we did, but we weren't able to do that. So we started to create an experimental film
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
based on this album we made,
Mm-hmm.
and through that we were really hooked on making working with cinema 4D and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, we're already composing and uh, arranging all the music ourselves when we do
Mm-hmm.
electronic music. So it's for us, it was something that was really close to us
Mm-hmm.
from the side of editing, and then we went through that process. And when everything opened up again, we could think about creating a new live show, and
Mm-hmm.
that we did together with uh, someone from Berlin, Phil Show. I was just like thinking, yeah,
Yeah.
name comes
Names,
out. And
names. Yeah.
yes, and he, we did a residency also in Trix this
Mm-hmm.
February,
Yeah.
and we did our first tryout with where he also tries to translate our sounds into a kind of audio-visual show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. And
so
the album was released in self-release or with a label?
yeah, there was a label called Diffuse Reality, but they only do online releases,
Right.
so
Yeah.
it's still somewhere
Mm-hmm.
in space,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um,
In the cloud. Yeah.
in the cloud. But
Yeah.
you can listen to it through our website, so Mono
Okay.
Mono.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can
Yeah.
listen.
For everybody, you don't have to write this along. We'll be pinging that all in the comments and in the LinkedIn tree or link tree. I don't know, like some social media terms. In the
Yes.
link tree, I think that's what it is. Great. You're also working with performances. Wait, with performers, with dancers.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're touring at the moment or not yet?
Yes, I'm working with Mette Ingwertsen at the
Mm-hmm.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
She made a new solo called The Dancing Public, and
Mm-hmm.
that's we're traveling around,
Mm-hmm.
around
A lot of
of
places.
places at the moment.
Yeah,
So
last time
it's
I
quite
saw you IRL, you were on your way to France.
yes. So next week is again France,
Again,
it's
France.
Lyon,
Hmm.
and then Stockholm, and then so many different directions, but super interesting to see so
Hmm.
many different places and different attitudes
Hmm.
towards performance arts and theater, and
Yeah,
especially the audience, because it's quite the public can participate also in the piece,
right.
so it's
Yeah.
quite interesting.
So
Yeah,
how does that feel in terms of like, well, let's call it like intermediary post-corona, because who knows what's going to happen
yeah.
when it gets colder again. So how is that feeling to have, this kind of contrast between the two times?
Um, well, since I have such a yeah, well, I never really felt corona because I was also working as a teacher before,
Mm,
in an elementary school, so I was really always busy
hmm.
reshaping the way how we should
Yeah,
teach, and
yeah,
so I was always busy,
yeah.
and through after that I just yeah, I'm I mean, the biggest thing is, I think, traveling and
Mm.
how that affects you a
Yeah.
bit,
Yeah.
like in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like just we were so closed off from everything that it feels quite strange to meet so many
Mm.
new people, and also all languages come from
Mm.
different. It's that's super nice, but also funny how like everything was so small, opens up, and
Yeah,
that's quite
suddenly.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. And the participatory performance is that somehow, sorry, I just have to adjust a little bit my phone because I'm noticing that it goes slowly this way. Um, yeah, so like the participatory performance is also, it feels like outside of this, or is there something like a shadow of it still kind of sensible?
Um, I mean, I think it's people have such a relief after the show because they feel um, they are also allowed to dance, and I guess
Yeah.
some haven't been able or don't really want to go to like I wanted to say discos, but I just mean
Mm.
dancing. Like
Mm-hmm.
this thing of like going out again
Yeah.
and have it's also kind of something we have to relearn a bit and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
enjoy.
Yeah.
It's something, yeah, it's it's quite, and I think what's really strong about the piece is that it's really intergenerational. You see
Mm-hmm.
very I have to say quite old people like
Mm-hmm.
having the amazing moves.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
so amazing, and then you have people, yeah, I don't know, that makes it for me a very interesting performance to watch every
Yeah.
night and see how the audience is
Mm.
participating.
Yeah. Yeah. Very nice. Cool, thank you. Well, let's talk about synthetic strings, though. Like it's
Yes.
a 6 minute and 15-second long piece,
Yeah.
audiovisual work. Super interesting. I had many different kinds of ideas. We talked about it quickly because for me it was this like, yeah, this 8-bit, but then super organic still. Like I was thinking about lichens and fungi and all these kinds of things, but then in the same time, all like in this digital, like old game 8-bit kind of aesthetic, where it was this like, yeah, maybe this like cyborgy kind of feeling. But then you told me some really surprising things about it. It's a collaboration with Julia, and sorry for mispronouncing possibly her last name, Kotarba, a cello player and your neighbor, apparently. Yeah, so tell us about this work, about the sound process, about the visual process. Oh, wait, I don't hear you.
Do
Now,
you hear
okay,
me?
you're back.
Yeah, all right. Yes. Okay. So, as you said, Julia is my upstairs neighbor,
Mhm,
and sometimes she rehearses
mhm,
upstairs.
mhm,
Sometimes with her a quartet,
mhm,
what is always amazing.
mhm,
Uh, but um, I already, in my, well, I already did it with many different musicians, recording them because it's amazing to just
mhm,
um, because since I'm an electronic musician, I can play instruments, multiple instruments, but not in the same way and as precise as they do.
yeah, yeah.
So I was quite fascinating to just go upstairs once and
Mhm,
record it, but
mhm,
record it in a way that I would also would be able to somehow capture the fullness and the richness of the cello sound.
mhm, mhm.
So I just one day, because she's also a lot of times on tour, we find each other and just said, all right, just do it.
Yeah.
And I just went upstairs with multiple microphones,
Mhm.
um, directional mics. Then there were the one, yeah, more for the Sony, it's just for just field recording, and
Mhm.
then there is the the ones we use for
A lavalier or
it was no, it wasn't, it was
a
I
DPA?
don't no no
Ouija? No, counting. Like because you
it's
did this, I thought it's probably a small mic that you're using for voice.
if no, it was actually the one that we use for they put in the ears.
Like a binaural.
Binaural, yeah, a
Yeah,
binaural mic. And the
yeah,
binaural mic went inside the cello, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
there were just multiple others, and that was
Yeah. Okay, so and did you have like a like kind of like a concept around how to mic up the instrument? So you said you wanted to capture the fullness. So you said it went inside or maybe on it. Is there like was there like a plan to follow, or just did you follow your instinct or just like your ear?
yes, both instinct
Mm-hmm.
and ears,
Mm-hmm.
but also really wanted to be inside the resonating chamber of the cello, and
Right.
then also from there on going more backwards. So they
Yeah.
were in different positions
Yeah.
in the space.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Just one thing that I thought of is like, was Julia surprised about the sound of her cello, or did
Um,
she discover like a new sound through this different way of, yeah, seeing? Yeah,
you mean after recording her and sending her
yeah,
the
or just
recordings?
yeah, listening to the recording, where she was like, oh, I didn't know that my cello would ever sound like this. For example, I don't know,
Mm.
or did she already have some experience maybe with this?
I don't know. She was really easy with also like sticking something on the cello. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. She was really in that sense not as protective as I thought she would maybe be,
Mm-hmm.
because there's also quite sensitive.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I have
Mm-hmm.
to ask her.
Yeah.
Haven't We haven't met after. It's quite
Okay.
funny because I captured it and then she's always away. So I
Right.
mean, she's of course saw the video and was
Mm-hmm.
really like, "What?"
Yeah.
That was interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, let's talk about the visual then in that case. Like I
yeah,
already described a little bit my impression, but I was
yeah.
quite surprised about how it came about. Tell us about it.
So well, to create a new piece for this platform, I was just, of course,
Mm-hmm.
thinking a lot of the time, what do I want to do? How
Mm-hmm.
would And first, I wanted to work with the idea of how we first see visual things and how sound follows.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I was thinking of like, of course, the one thing we know always like you first see lightning and the sound follows after.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow, I really wanted to work with this, but funny enough, I last year I had to perform in Cognac, and then it was 14th of July
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
So there was around that time there were so many fireworks
Yeah.
that I had so many recordings of this. So
Mm-hmm.
and that was a bit similar, like on a different scale, of course, than
Mm-hmm.
when you see lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but that was actually um, the starting point.
Mm-hmm.
Like I already had these cello sounds lying around, and they don't really necessarily have anything to do in relation of where the visual
Mm-hmm.
components come from. But
Mm-hmm.
somehow, well, later on, I think it will make sense. Well,
Yeah.
they're there,
Yeah.
but it's like, yeah, that was quite logical to use that as a starting point
Mm-hmm.
for image. Yeah.
Yeah. So the fireworks are the basis of the visuals. And
Indeed,
are they
yeah.
also in the sounds?
They are not.
They're
Actually,
not.
no.
Okay. Yeah.
No, no.
In our imagination.
So
And then,
sometimes maybe it would, well, sometimes there are like all the sounds you hear in the video are also only cello sounds.
mhm,
But yeah, the way, I
mhm.
mean, sometimes there's like a boom,
Yeah,
and that, yeah.
yeah. It is actually quite I think quite a fluid way of like the sound piece is quite like it's quite calm in some ways, so quite like not, but then the visual is also very slow or kind of staccato like in some ways. And how did you create the pictures like technically? What did you use? What did you do?
Yeah, so I worked in Premiere Pro, and well, that's just the framework where I just begin, and then the they were all really like iPhone recordings,
Mm,
video recordings, and from there on, I'm really interested in how to manipulate the visual
mhm, mhm,
um, or visualization that and use a lot of effects on them to see where and well how it reacts, but definitely not to use it in a way that it will enhance the picture
Right.
or the image, but where it breaks. So
Right.
from there on, you start to stretch, overlay, well, and then you zoom in as far as possible, and then at that moment, it's just like the break. It's almost the breaking of the film, but digitally breaking almost, and that's what it's. That's why I find it interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting thought of wanting to like press through this, like, yeah, and just kind of, yeah, as you say, break it basically. And then within this, like, say, destruction, there is something quite beautiful and new kind of like there's a lot of life in this destruction in some ways, right? So that's also
Yeah.
quite interesting. Nice.
Yeah, funny enough, after finishing it, everything goes to the left. Everything is directed to the left at the moment. But it's because and it's also nice to just play around with something that you maybe see in one position, but then it's turning upside down and creates new kind of compositions.
You mean the
Visually.
movement of the image goes to the right?
Indeed, to the left.
To the left, sorry.
No, to the right. It's to the right, most of them. Yeah.
To the left, to the left, to the right, to the right.
Yes.
Okay. But it's the footage, right? So it's like that's just the movement of the footage.
Indeed. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Nice. And how do you think or like have imagination to proceed with that? Maybe like this concept of breaking an image, maybe also, yeah, like trying to map instruments with different, from different perspectives. Like it also sounds like, with the sound, you also try to look at that cello from a different perspective, so like, is there some kind of like conceptual work that might develop out of that, or is there more of these? Because this is quite short, and I was thinking, I could listen to this for much longer, and I could also get lost in this kind of visual material for a really long time. So what's your plan with it? Because you did actually generate it for the pulse, for the compulsive pulse, right?
Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, I see it can generate into a series. I did well in this one. I also divided into like four different ways of working with the material. Sometimes it's very sliced, very precise. Sometimes it's more flowy, and then so every part has a different treatment. And then I can imagine doing this. And while working on it, I've noticed that there were so many similarities how I produce sounds. So I definitely can imagine that maybe, who knows, it can also be a live, reaching from live performance to different just video works.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about the, producing sound. Like you said before, you're using a lot of electronic instruments, computer. So tell us a little bit about your workflow.
Yeah, so I think it's a bit similar when creating the visual. But as I said, that I already recorded the cellist, and the way how I recorded her was already quite of an intense material, because I gave her a list of like, I asked her to use a lot of extended techniques because I'm very interested in also how she makes this cello not sounding like a cello, because then you have different harmonics playing in and stuff like that. So that was already really rich material. So it was quite difficult to start from, because I rearranged, and now it's like, no. So after treating the image very destructively, almost like zooming in, stretching it, I I tried to use the same kind of treatment with the sound. And then because I had a little bit of I just wanted to try out a different way of composing instead of having a kind of broad idea how like a concept of like a or movement of sound. This time I just used the image to somehow control it and find a kind of like sometimes it was a bit like gimmicky, like almost Mickey Mousing this effect, like okay, but how does this movement work? Where but then also using the same treatment, like stretching the sound as far as possible, and like also where you see the pixels of the film, how far can I go with the sounds, and in that sense also using a lot of effects like plugins, and trying to see where it becomes almost I would say it becomes a new instrument almost.
Yeah. So it was kind of like an interplay between having a visual like starting point and then going for a sonic creation to that, like kind of like a sound design for that visual basically. And then sometimes understanding, okay, no, maybe it's the alteration, maybe the visual needs to adapt a little bit here or something like that. Yeah.
I think where the cellist is, where I also cellist to play her cello with a lot of extended techniques. It was again doing that on the material itself.
Right.
But from
wood.
A more, sorry.
On the wood or on the recorded material? Sorry.
On the recorded materials, and then
okay.
I mean, use how do you play extended techniques on like electronics? I'm just interested in that, how I could do that. And
yeah, very nice. And this is also, you said you wanted to try a little bit of different. So how do you generally proceed when you are shaping compositions or maybe even improvising? Do you even have like a certain way of going about it?
So with the band Mono Mono, we started out improvising, but now because we went through that many years ago, it always, and after this week also having a week of like intense creation and thinking about, okay, what else can we do, what's still new, and then I noticed it's not about something that's new, but it's about sound fascination and something that it's like echoing, like almost echoing, and with your whole I don't know, you just know, so it's also it's I'm always searching for certain qualities, but it's quite difficult to say what they are, but it's like echoing with who I am, and and that's always, and then I know that I can go on actually.
Yeah, so just very intuitive, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Nice. I want to invite everybody to ask questions if you have any, or just please put it in the chat box and we'll read it out loud. I'm just going to scroll real quick because I saw some people writing things, and I think not yet a question, but people say hi, which is very sweet. And so everybody who's live with us right now, feel free and invited to ask some questions. So are you planning to make a series of the synthetic strings?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've I'm really interested in recording different instruments. I don't know if it will only be a cello on itself, but I still have so much material left. So
way to go. Which leads me, of course, to this question, and I think that'll be also my final, unless you want to share some other things with us. Is what's next? What's gonna happen next for you?
Well, touring, a lot of touring. I'm
right,
and that means that I have to really adapt and change my practice. So that's nice that with this piece, finding a way of like working with the laptop and image, and like I can see myself doing that almost everywhere, and that will be super nice. Then I will represent the bling ring in a different formats, most probably in autumn. So this and I will be working on that. So some new sound works, and then I mean, and then of course the band project is well, just trying to find new ways to also make new music, and then eventually also perform it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. Am I allowed to ask which the new way is for the bling ring, or is that the little secret you were talking about earlier?
The new what? Sorry?
The new way of presenting bling ring, or is that the secret?
Well, of course, every new placement is different. I mean,
of course, it's a very in situ driven work. Yeah.
Yes, but now I'm super interested in using different materials for creating the rings. That's one side of.
Okay.
Then multiple rings.
Right.
Then the way now it was just one motor, and then I want to research more about how I can make more like a time composition. So it's like it's gonna be more I would say a little bit of robotics coming in, and like how I can use time differently with the work itself. Yeah, and there are many different that's like the first step, and through that I think many things will follow. So
yeah, it sounds also like if you say robot, I imagine like also a little bit of programming. You might want to go more into electronic component, like the motors, and making them more maybe automated, and it's another level of skill sets as well, and different materials. It also sounds very exciting.
Yeah.
Cool. So anybody, if you have a question, this is now your moment. But Anna, do you have something else you want to share with us, or share with the people out there?
Just go and dance, I guess. Dance.
Don't be shout. Dance as long as you can.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So in this case, from my side, that's everything. Was really nice to see you again, like this time virtually, and talk to you about this work. It's really lovely work, which can be still watched until tomorrow, Sunday the 10th, until 7 o'clock in the evening. And then later on, of course, we will release it in our archive. But no, this is your opportunity to go and watch it on our Pulse channel today or tomorrow, or today and tomorrow. That's all from my side for so far. Thank you so much for being with us, Anne. And everybody, next week it will be Friffa Jenkins who's going to be talking to us, and her work will be presented on Thursday at 7 o'clock. I always want to say 19, so I end up saying 9. So at 7 o'clock on our Pulse channel. Thank you very much, Anne, and I hope to see you soon again.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.